Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, right, the significance of material cost fluctuations is absolutely, it's critical, and it has this very significant impact. Half of construction is material. The other half is labor. If we think about COVID, when COVID hit, if you went out to your local Home Depot, your local Lowe's, and tried to buy a two by four, you were shocked at how expensive a piece of two by four was. I'm used to paying maybe $2, $3 for an 8 foot length two by four. When I went during COVID, tripled in price. Same thing with sheathing, same thing with roofing, windows. We were shocked at how expensive things were because of supply chain issues, right? And so cost fluctuations ultimately not only impact construction companies, but they also impact the end customer, right? And so these cost fluctuations ultimately pass down to the end customer. And so as a construction company, now you have to either make a decision, and it has to be a conscious decision, is do we pass that cost on to the customer, or do we pass that cost onto our own selves and in respect, reduce our profit margin? And so a lot of companies are kind of have to balance between, do we pass this cost on or do we eat that cost, because we're afraid we may lose a bid if we come in too high, right? It's like that sticker shock. Your customer is expecting one price based off of the information that they got from, you know, uh, another customer or a friend or whatever, or what they researched online, only to find out that because material is a lot higher, it's a lot more expensive. They're looking at a bid that is probably 2 times, 3 times what their price is, or what they were expecting anyway. And so strategies to mitigate the fluctuations in material. Ultimately, I think the reoccurring theme here is diversity, right? Diversification in your supply chain, diversification in materials that you're ultimately purchasing. And so you have to be aware, especially now coming out of COVID, is a lot of these manufacturers, these vendors, these suppliers are now also moving to a just-in-time process, where now they understand they don't need to hold on to $1 billion worth of inventory and sit on that and hold that, because there's a lot of risk. What they've learned is they can have a just-in-time environment to meet the demand of these construction companies. What does that mean for the construction company? Well, you have to diversify your suppliers. You have to understand the different regions you have to supply from to be able to meet that demand. And so diversification is really the key to ultimately mitigate any challenges that you're having with material and the cost fluctuations that the economy ultimately impacts.